And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly, truly fantastic day today. Fanboys, LeBron James fanboys. We truly, truly hope your day is going terrible. Fanboys, explain your king. Please, we all need to know. We all are looking for an explanation. We want to know, what is your king? Why is your king carrying a big orange purse? And why do you guys support someone who is carrying a big orange purse that supposedly is the king, that supposedly is the GOAT to some people? Yeah, we would love to know. We're going to keep this video short, people, but it's Fanboy Friday, and I felt like what better time to address this. 1984, people. That is the day that the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, made his debut into the NBA as a rookie. And 1984 is also the day that the flopping, game cheating, disrespecting the game, most mentally weak superstar we have ever seen was born. LeBron James was born the same year that Michael Jordan came into the NBA as a rookie. 2003, people. That is the day that the GOAT made his final exit from the NBA. That is the day that the year that Michael Jordan retired from the Washington Wizards for good. And that is also the year that the flopping, whining, crying, most mentally weak superstar came into the NBA. I've said this many times, and I'm going to keep saying it. And, you know, some people may wake up to this fact, and some may forever live in delusion. But LeBron James never had it in him to be the GOAT. He never had it in him to be the GOAT. For one of the things that we associate with the greats is just a certain level of toughness. And the level of toughness that we associate with the greats is a much higher level than your average player in the NBA. And when we're talking about toughness, we're talking about all across the board. We're talking about, from a physical standpoint, the ability to deal with the physicality of the league in a way that doesn't rattle them or throw them off their game. And we're also talking about the mental toughness, the ability to deal with the pressure situations and maintain poise and still be able to do what needs to be done. This is what we think about when we think about the greats, when we think about your Michael Jordans, when we think about Kobe Bryant, when we think about Larry Bird and Magic and Russell and Tim Duncan, and the list goes on and on, people. Jerry West, even though he only got one championship, you know, I think when we think about the greats of the game, we think about, one of the things we think about is toughness. LeBron James is the opposite of that. It was never in LeBron James to have the potential to be the GOAT. LeBron James is the opposite of everything that Michael Jordan represents. And I would argue that all of the GOATs, if you will, all of the greats, maybe that's a better way to put it, all of the greats of basketball have roughly the same traits. Some just have them more than others. Michael Jordan, you could argue, was the most mentally tough superstar that the NBA has ever seen. And this is why he was able to be so calm in pressure situations. This is why he was so clutch, because nothing could rattle him. Trash talking from other players couldn't rattle him. The critiques from outside sources and media couldn't rattle him. He just simply kept getting better and better. And so, but all of the greats share similar qualities. But LeBron James, he is actually the opposite of all of those things. Killer Will? Nope. LeBron James doesn't have killer will at all. The ability to overcome challenges? Nope. LeBron James does not possess that. Toughness. Well, this picture tells you everything you need to know. The guy's carrying an orange purse. So LeBron James is devoid of toughness. Not to mention he's a flopper and a whiner at all times. LeBron James is literally the opposite of all of the things that we appreciate in the greats. He never had it in him to begin with. And so this experiment with LeBron James, this is what it was. The LeBron James experiment, the trying to turn a beta into an alpha, trying to the test tube goat, trying to make a goat in a laboratory, if you will, trying to manufacture a goat. If you just look at the complete picture of LeBron James, you will see this is the picture of this was impossible for it to ever happen. And at the end of the day, as we're getting towards the end of the duck, the deer, the leader of the 4 and 6 Kingdoms career, he himself is actually helping tear down his own false legacy. He is actually helping that because, again, he is so soft and so sensitive that he keeps doing things to turn even more people off. I guess he feels like he's appealing to his fan base. He's appealing to the delusional ones. And that's true, because LeBron James fanboys, I'm still getting the comments about being just a hater. Fanboys, I really don't even know what to say about you guys, because one thing that's just so puzzling, and I guess it shouldn't be, because again, you guys are reflections of LeBron James. But if you really wanted to convince somebody that LeBron James was the GOAT, you would think that you would try to actually dispute the reasons that we say he's not the GOAT. Instead of just saying we're haters, you would think that you would take some time and actually try to formulate a reason to combat the reasons that we say he is not the GOAT. But you, much like your king, you just want to equate it to people hating, because this is what LeBron James does. Why would anybody want to be the face of the league when all we do is get criticized? That's weird. It's weird energy. I've been in this league for 22 years, and I haven't cheated the game. 22 years, and the last thing I would do is cheat the game. Did I tell you I wouldn't cheat the game? I want all my fans to know that I've played this game the right way. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a liar. I'm not a flopper. I'm really not a basketball player. Oh, man. But, yeah, LeBron James, when you when you go on these shows and you continue to try to throw shade at previous generations, you are not helping your case. When you go on these shows and try to convince people that everything you went through was the hardest thing that has ever happened in the NBA, you are not helping your case. When you go on these podcasts and on your podcast and want to convince people that you should get extra credit because social media exists, you are not helping your case. Again, I mean, it's really nothing more to say at this point. But, I will say this. I truly enjoy watching LeBron James destroy his own legacy towards the end of his career. Like he is such he lacks so much accountability that he can't even ride into the sunset and let the chips fall where they may. He has to spend his farewell tour trying to convince everybody, trying one last time to convince everybody that maybe he is the GOAT. That just somehow, if you just take into considerations all the circumstances, if you take into consideration how much pressure he had when he came in as an 18-year-old, and if you take into consideration that 2016 was the greatest comeback in the history of the game, if you take into consideration that 2020, with the bubble chip, was the hardest championship ever, because man, the only thing we had to do is play basketball and video games with our friends every day. We were away from our families, and I guess I could have used all that extra time to work on my free throws, but I'm not really interested in getting better. I'm only interested in convincing you that I'm the GOAT without having to put in the work. Anyway, people, we gonna hold up here. Fanboys, you are ridiculous, and so is your king. But, I would love to hear from LeBron James fanboys on this one. I would like to know, what do you think about your king's orange purse? I would like to know, what do you think about, do you think that shows toughness? Do you think his orange purse... Do you think his orange purse shows how tough he is on the basketball court? Do you think it represents his personality? Does his orange purse represent you fanboys? Does it represent your personality? I would say so. You guys did make a R&B love song for LeBron James. So, I guess you guys probably are on board with that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.